This is The Realist, and as a PhD engineer, I build models that work. And today, we are deconstructing what women want in dating. Guys, at the core of a relationship is the exchange of value. And so to get what you want, it's a good idea for you to have what she wants. So what do women want? This seemingly simple question is actually shrouded in complications. Self-awareness is very rare in general, and women in the know are disincentivized by instinct and social pressure to tell the full truth to men. So whatever you hear from the source is only part of the equation, and fully believing what women say is a ticket straight to Disneyland. On the other side, male pundits often come from the manosphere, and while there is theoretical and practical use of their information, it is invariably flawed or incomplete. Red pill, for instance, copes around male aging. Black pill overemphasizes looks and forgets about everything else. And both underplay traits related to long-term success, like loyalty. So today, I'll present the objective, generalized model of what women want in relationships. This video will explain the model's framework, the 3 primary dimensions, and the next video will demonstrate the model in practice. Let's get into the cube. There are 3 distinct dimensions: attractiveness, resources, and loyalty. Each dimension is independent from one another, and they serve very different needs in a relationship. While there can be correlation between them, success in one does not score points in another. The key here is that women want all 3. Yes, a hot, rich, and loyal boyfriend/husband is preferred. Shocking, I know. This may sound exhausting to some men. However, do you not want a woman who is cute yet hot, intelligent but kind, independent and still agreeable, who is unreservedly sexy for you while remaining discreet to the world? The reality is, people want what they want, with little regard to what is realistically attainable, and women want a man who has all 3 dimensions. That said, let's get into a controversial axis first: loyalty. Loyalty is how long women think a man will give them access to himself and his resources. It is contingent, cheap to receive, and costly to give. This is a hard truth for some people to swallow, but loyalty is only valued by women when it's coming from the men they want it from. Let me say this in another way. Loyalty matters only when you are already attractive and/or resourceful. Think of it like this. If a store gives you a guarantee on a product that you don't want, how much do you value that guarantee? Probably not a lot. Loyalty is just not inherently useful. It offers no sustenance, no shelter, no protection. Without the foundation of the other 2 axes, loyalty is simply irrelevant to a woman. Also, loyalty is cheap on the dating market. Almost everyone will profess it, so it is abundant. Meanwhile, this promise is unverifiable. Unlike attractiveness that women can't see, or wealth that she can measure, you can't truly predict a man's loyalty decades from today. So with what little value loyalty has, it needs to be discounted. That said, loyalty is how long women think you will stay with them. And so for long-term success, they still want it, and you need to offer it. This is generally done through showing attention and through developing an emotional connection. At the highest form, though, loyalty from men is remaining faithful when comparable optionality exists. This may seem like a basic requirement for most women, but this is a cross-gender misunderstanding. The vast majority of men do not have this level of access to women, so these men are forced to make a virtue out of necessity. Now, for the men that women most desire, he, by definition, has abundant options, and committing to sexual exclusivity is a life-altering opportunity cost. While women may be inclined to do so naturally, it is simply not the case for most men. A comparable gendered sacrifice would be a woman choosing to bear and raise 4 children for their partner. This is why such loyalty should not be taken for granted. Just like how even attractive men and successful men must have game and skill to have sex with beautiful women, women do need finesse to secure lifelong commitment from these exceptional men. Let's get on to the second dimension, attractiveness. If you're finding this video useful so far, please subscribe and hit the bell. I'm building a complete, realistic framework for dating and life, and you won't miss the rest by subscribing. Attractiveness is how much women want to have sex with a man, and this is almost the complete opposite of loyalty. Attractiveness is very, very costly for men to develop, the least in your control, but also the most effective at starting relationships. For example, your style costs literal money. How smooth you are and how you carry yourself is usually developed through many dates that you're paying for. Your physique, this requires years of dedication, and skin and hair, decades of maintenance. Not only is attractiveness very expensive money and time, some factors, like your face and height, are largely out of your control. But don't lament. This is by evolutionary design. On the dating market, a man's value is determined largely in relation to other men's value, and the opportunity cost of a young woman being with any particular man is very, very high. As such, attractiveness is the most effective dimension for men to attract women into sexual relationships due to how few men have it. Of all three axes, if you could choose to be on the positive side of any given one, you would always choose to be on the positive side of attractiveness in a dating context. Now, with attractiveness, it can be subdivided into three broad categories. For physical, the female gaze is primarily derived from human biology and the evolutionary process. In order, your height and face are the most important, then comes your physique, and lastly, your skin and hair. If you must prioritize, this is the order. For presentation, this differs depending on context, for example, your friend group or the country that you live in. Your style can make or break first impressions, so find a personal stylist near you or online. They only cost a few $100s. They'll tell you what outfits to wear, what hairstyle to get, and save you money in the long run. For conversation like your tone and energy, learn from pickup artists. Their poor reputation is utterly irrelevant to the effectiveness of their approach. If women actually disliked it, pickup would not exist. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. Mentality, while internal, exudes through your demeanor, and women are exceptionally good at sensing it. For confidence, get really good at something. Could be a sport, an art, a profession. It will take years. Dominance is trickier. This doesn't mean be an asshole, but rather being unafraid of conflict and willing to escalate, including to increasing degrees of force as necessary. It is essentially having power and being able and willing to use it, preferably for good, but in terms of intersexual attraction, morality has little impact. Having the abundance mindset is a tightrope walk. You can't be desperate and put all your eggs in one basket, even if deep inside you may want to. If a woman feels like she's being put on a pedestal, by instinct and logic, she will see you as lesser and be less attracted. However, remember that women still want loyalty and commitment in a long-term relationship. This means you need to demonstrate your feelings without desperation while remaining as attractive as possible for your partner and for insurance, which ironically helps prevent relationship breakdown. Being attractive is the most effective dimension to instigate a relationship. However, it fades as a function of familiarity and aging, so you still need the other two axes long term. Feeling tired yet? The last dimension is resources, or how much women want to be part of a man's lifestyle. Attractiveness and loyalty are great, but a quality woman simply won't stay if you don't have a nest. Resources are actually less controversial than many would think. Compared to something like your face and height, your financial status is much easier to improve. It is also versatile, so regardless of your views on dating, it rarely hurts to have more money. However, it is important to know the law of diminishing return. While the relationship between attractiveness and dating success for men is between linear to exponential, the relationship between resources and dating success is a logarithmic function. For instance, going from $1,000 to $1 million in your bank account is absolutely life-changing for dating, but going from $1 million to $2 million has only a marginal impact. Both are practically increases of $1 million, but the marginal benefit of the second million compared to the first is much smaller. Resources are usually observed by women in two ways: your competence and dollar figure. Degrees, especially graduate ones, and skills demonstrate your ability to acquire resources. Your social status can indicate your access to resources, and the perception of your status is highly influenced by your context. It could be the direct environment that you're in. For example, your social status on a football team is very different from your social status in a corporate office. This also differs between countries, for example, between the West and the East, and even within the same nation, for example, between a farming community and a university campus. Basically, your social status is heavily influenced by the context. Dollar figures, on the other hand, are more universal. This is your income, your assets. This also includes your future income. Some argue that future income is not considered by women. This is not true, at least for women with any intelligence. Otherwise, your law and medical students are entirely out of luck. Note that you must make your resources legible. Women can't magically see your portfolio or bank account, and what's invisible has no effect. Your competence and lifestyle need to be tastefully signaled clearly. In short, get rich for yourself and for dating. But remember, resources have diminishing returns while attractiveness does not. In conclusion, this model generalizes to practically all women, but it is not exhaustive. There are other things that could add or multiply the effects of these three dimensions, which I'll cover in a future video. Although these are the trends, the weight of each axis and their categories differ between individual women, so use your own discretion. This model demonstrates reality. It is not a moral judgment. So, what do you think? Comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.